And second thing, so it's about shining your light. And like I told you, like what I said, recently I've been putting myself out there more. I've started doing lives, and I thought about how I was always afraid to show my talent and my skills, and I was just thinking, like, where did that fear come from? I mean, I'm sort of naturally introverted and shy, and then being in a very socially energized environment is a bit draining for someone like me. But I was just thinking back, because I remember when I was in elementary school, when I was like grade 5 or 6, like basically in elementary school, I loved writing. I loved reading, I loved writing, and I was still like a shy, introverted kid, didn't talk much until you like really got closer, until you really got to know me. But I was just, all of a sudden I remember when it came to writing, I was never afraid or ashamed or shy about writing. Every time the teacher was like, okay, we're gonna do a writing class or a writing session, I'll be like, yes, I love writing, I'm good at writing. I would say it out loud. I would tell the world that I love writing so much, and that because I'm also good at it and I love it. And it was less about bragging, it was more about like, yes, time to do what I love to do. And I was unashamed. I was fearless. I didn't care how good I was, how bad I was. I just knew that I loved it. And that I got also, I received a lot of validation from my teacher, who gave me higher marks, who told me that I was a good writer, who complimented me for my writing. And it never occurred to me that I had to hide it, or that I have to be ashamed of it, or that I have to be afraid of what came after. And then even when with constructive criticism, my teacher would always say, oh, you can work on this, but I was never not confident about that. I was like, okay, so time to improve my writing. Like, it was never something that I didn't, it was just the way it is. It was really, I loved writing, I loved improving on my writing. And that was that. I was just that simple child, and I was just like, where did that fear come from? And then I remembered, after I immigrated to Canada, I wanted to, obviously I had to learn English and perfect English. I guess you can't really perfect a language, but I wanted to be fluent in English. So English was something that I have to work on. And I also wanted to work on my Chinese, my ability to write in Chinese and read in Chinese and improve my Chinese writing, because it wasn't something that I wanted to lose just because I immigrated. I wanted to be good at writing in English and Chinese. So my mother found me like a Chinese writing teacher, and she taught me for a couple of years, I think from grade 7 to grade maybe 10 or 11, and then I think we stopped for a few years, and then we picked it up again when we have time. But basically she taught me different styles of writing, she taught me the language of writing in Chinese, and she taught me how to basically, well, she was my writing teacher. And we did that for a few years. And thinking back, okay, so this is an interesting story. At the time, I really admired her. I really had a lot of respect for her, for this Chinese teacher, writing teacher, because she seemed so knowledgeable, so wise, and she seemed like she knew a lot, and that she knew how to help me, that she knew what good writing looked like, and that she would compliment me for how humble I was, for how much I wanted to improve my writing, and she would try to steer me towards the positive direction. And at first I had really, like, I had a lot of respect for her, and I just thought she was such a good writing teacher. So then that was the story at the time. But I was just thinking back. After I became an adult, I thought back on how that teacher taught me, and also after becoming an English tutor and a teacher myself, I thought back about how that teacher taught me, and I was actually horrified at some of the things I'd experienced with her, because she was actually, she did a lot of damage, honestly, a lot of damage to my creative identity, because I remember the first class that I had with her, I think we did poetry. I did creative poetry, and I took that class with another friend of mine, and it was like a group tutoring session or whatever. We took classes with her together, and we did poetry. And I kind of was like really happy because I felt, at the time I felt like I was really good at poetry, and I loved writing poetry, so I wrote something really quickly. And of course there was always room for improvement, and I was like grade 7 or grade 6, right? And it wasn't that I wasn't open to feedback, but I remember exactly what she said. Well, actually not exactly what she said, but basically what she said was, "Wow, what a piece of crap." Such a childish piece of crap, and that's what she said. And at the time I was really, I think, thinking back now, I realized that I was extremely upset. I was so upset, but I didn't really know how to process it because I didn't think that it was a thing that I could question an adult, that I could question a teacher, that I could question an authority, that it actually wasn't my fault, that I felt really bad. And I think what was the most terrible thing was thinking back about just on like how she treated me as a student. What she did was she really, like, it wasn't even constructive feedback, it wasn't teaching. She broke me down. She broke me down, and she even said so a couple times herself. She said she wanted to break me down so she could build me from the ground up into this writer that she approved of. And I remember clearly that during the whole time that I was taking writing classes with her, I could never write what I really wanted to write about. And the things that I really loved was always like a target, became a target for her attacks. And I still love fantasy literature. I love exploring poetic language. I love writing about you know, imagery, metaphors, feelings, simple childlike things, because that was who I was. And then like I was a kid, and then even after an adult, I'm still like, I still have a really big inner child, and I just still enjoy simple things. Like I still love Disney. I still love, like, I would still be happy like if someone takes me to get ice cream. Like, and it's not like, I feel like it's not a childish thing. It's just like I enjoy someone showing that they care about me by taking me to something that I want to eat. Like, it doesn't have to be ice cream, it could be noodles or it could be bubble tea. Just simple things like that, and it makes me really happy. But she would see that as childish, unprofessional, unliterary, and every time I wrote something that's remotely fantastical or that's sort of rooted in the fantasy genre, she would slash it because she didn't believe in fantasy literature. She thought fantasy literature is a piece of shit because none of those things are real. Therefore, they have no value. What does have value would be Shakespeare, would be literature that is grounded in feminism and political discussion and world-changing views. That's something that's very intellectual. And I'm not saying those things aren't important, but those topics just really aren't my cup of tea. Those aren't my genre. That's not who I wanted to be. That's not who I wanted to be as a writer. That's not what I loved. But she rejected everything that I was. She criticized and judged everything that I was. Stopped me from really being proud of who I was as a writer. She basically really broke me down and just brainwashed me, because I trusted her so much, and she brainwashed me. She told me that to be a great writer, you have to write all these literary things, you have to fit into this certain mold, or you have to be inside this box, and you have to be inside this box to be accepted by the world, or to be accepted by me. And I wanted so desperately to be accepted, because who doesn't? And then I just didn't really know how to think for myself at the time. I didn't really know what she was doing to me. I didn't really understand that I actually didn't have to follow a certain path, follow her path, and that I should just be able to pursue what I loved. And thinking back as a teacher, I realized how horrible that was, because you were never supposed to try to mold your students. You're supposed to find out who they are so you can give them the encouragement and the tools that they need to become their own thinker, to become their own writer, to become their own person. And it was just horrifying to really, it was a horrifying thing to realize that how traumatic it had been, at least when it comes to my creative identity, that it was just it was a lot of shit and damage that I had to pick up and smooth out and heal from, and it's a lot. And I just remembered that all of a sudden I was thinking about shining my light in Adventurium April, and I was just like, holy shit, why was I was never afraid. I wasn't born afraid of my talent. I was born into, I was a kid that just loved writing. I was just someone who loved what I do. And somewhere down the line, this teacher completely broke me. And I'm just thinking back, and you know what was the shittiest things that she did? She discouraged me all the time. She always said that you shouldn't pursue fantasy writing. You shouldn't do it. You shouldn't do it. This is not what literature is. And I think I believed her, but I think I was also really conflicted about that, because deep down inside I know that wasn't true. So it was a really draining place to be. I remember like every time I would take her class, and then at the end of it I would just be so gosh darn tired. And I just thought that maybe it's because I wrote for 2-3 hours straight, so anybody could be tired, which is true, but I was just so drained, like depleted and drained. And I remember that she always discouraged me from writing fantasy literature. And then I didn't realize it at the time, and it wasn't until years later, like this year, I think I realized this maybe last year, just like recently, I realized there's this really fucking shady thing that she did. She always discouraged me from writing fantasy literature. So there's this writing competition that I entered from the local library. It's like a scary story writing contest. And I submitted 2 years. I won the first year, won first place in my first year. And I submitted again in second year, but I didn't win that year. But anyway, for both years, I translated my English submission into Chinese so she could read it, because I thought I wanted to share. And also it would just be good practice for me to write in Chinese and English. So I showed it to her, and she was just like, oh man, this is another piece of fantasy writing. I guess you can do it in your hobby, in your spare time, but don't pursue this like full time. Don't do this. And you know what she fucking did? She took that piece of writing I wrote this little horror piece, this little scary story flash fiction about a demon summoning, and then I went through like a gothic phase in high school, and I wrote in detail how the flesh was being ripped. It was very descriptive and horrific. It was just like perfectly bloody and like macabre and grotesque, right? She took that piece of writing without my permission. She went to this teacher's meeting or whatever. She showed it to her circle of friends who were teachers, complimented my writing, read it out loud. All the teachers were like, oh my god, this is such a talented student. And she fucking took credit for teaching me. For that writing that for that genre of writing she rejected, for that genre of writing she dissed and slashed and cut, like, and she fucking took credit for that, for my talent, for a talent that she tried to suppress and kill and restructure and bring down. And I just remember, like, last night, or not last night, maybe 2 nights ago, but just sort of throughout the course of a couple of days, and just all this story came together about how my creative identity was attacked, oppressed, and just poisoned by my journey and my experience with her. And there was a lot of rage, there was a lot of upset. I just felt like I just wished I just wished that creatively I wasn't abused that way. And it wasn't just my creative identity, it took a lot on my confidence, on my self-esteem as a person, because if I wasn't allowed to do what I loved, if I was judged and criticized and rejected for what I loved, then who was I? Who was I supposed to be? Who am I? And I think it's just one of the things in my life that I really have a lot of anger for. Like, I don't usually get angry really often because I'm naturally a pretty peaceful person, but that teacher was some fucking left a scar, man. Freaking left a scar. Whew. So yeah, so that's one of the reasons, well, a big reason why that I am afraid to shine my light, because every time I tried during a period when I was fastly developing, when I was trying to figure out who I was, I was repeatedly told that I wasn't allowed to be that person, that I wasn't allowed to create what I wanted to create, and that what I created was not worth a thing. It was that it did not have any value, that it did not, that it didn't mean anything. And I think that was one of the major reasons why I have a lot of shadowy stuff surrounding this idea of just being who I am and wanting to pursue what I love to pursue. And it's just mind-blowing when I put all the story, like when I put the story together, and I was like, I just feel such rage, but also such a release, because I finally figure out why. Because you know, every time you do shadow work, every time you have a journey in which you try to explore your innerscapes or shadowscapes, you would always find a new piece of information or a new perspective to look at things, and you would always find something. There's always something there. It's like the landscape is shifting, and every time it shifts, it will alert you to a different part of it, and that part of it will be the key information that you would use that you can bring back to shed light on what you're trying to create, what you're trying to do in your present life. And what I want to do right now is to not be afraid to be who I am, to be who I am, to create and to speak, to write, to draw, to illustrate, to doodle, to just do whatever the fuck I want without a care in the world, just because I love it, just because this is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Do I need another reason to do what I want to do? No. And honestly, I just want to sit with this simple intention, this simplicity within my heart, where I don't want to, every time I want to do something, I will hit a wall. I will be thrown into a maze. I will have to fight through all these brambles and entanglements and sharp thorns, where I just have to, where I would be scared of becoming bruised or bloodied by criticism or judgment, or someone who didn't understand me, someone who didn't know how to teach. I just want to be who I am and do what I want to do in life. And that is my adventure to embark on, and that is the story I want to share with you. I just want to do what I want. I want to want what I want. I want to do what I want. I want to say what I want. I want to create whatever I want. And by doing so, I want to just by being who I am, by creating what I want, by pursuing what I want, I will be able to join this bigger consciousness, this bigger vibration, this bigger picture, this bigger tribe, to be with a group of people who are wanting the same thing, who want to see me be who I am, because I want the same thing for them. I want you to be who you are. I want to see you in your full confidence. I want to see you in all your glory and magic. I want to see you chase your dream just like I'm chasing mine. And let's chase our dreams together, because our dreams are worth chasing. Ooh. Okay, I'm tearing up a little bit. It's my bubble tea. Okay. Speaking of which, I actually been considering that I should start doing some slam poems. Motivational, dream chasing, feel good pep talky slam poems, cause not to be like cocky or whatever, but I was looking at some of the slam poems on YouTube. I was like, I don't know if I can perform as good as them, or have that kind of video editing or graphics or whatever, or have that personality, but I think when it just comes to the words, I can write something awesome. Like, I can probably do something better. Anyway, sorry if that sounded really arrogant. I just meant that this is a venue that I haven't really thought of exploring. I mean, I've always been a poet. Before I started blogging about tarot, I actually had a blog where I posted my poetry, and I actually gained quite a big following there. And everybody was like, you should publish your own poetry book, but at the time I was like, nah, I didn't really have time to organize an ebook. And by the time I realized I could do an ebook, I became drawn to tarot, so I didn't really have time to just spend on the writing. I mean, I still write a lot for tarot, but it would just be in the umbrella of tarot, but I never returned to that poetry side, maybe once in a while. But yeah, I've been considering doing slam poetry and more poetry, to be honest, and I actually am pretty good at writing motivational stuff, just because I'm just naturally sort of like, and it's not like the raw like chase your dream type of motivational speech. I don't know, I just want to open up the space with my poetry, and I want to take people along with me, and I want them to feel what I feel. I want them to feel that anything is possible. Like anything is when you enter this poetic space with me, that you will be uplifted and you will be inspired, and you would see you exactly the world should see you. You would see yourself in the way that's supposed to be seen. You would see all the good parts of yourself and who you're meant to become, and who you are and how unique you are as a person. I want to take people on a journey with me, with my poetry and with my tarot readings, with my writing, you know. It's just, I want to just be who I am. I want to be this statement. I want to live it. I want to embody. I want to exist in this magical moment. Every single moment, every single second is just me and being the best of myself. Whew, told you I could write slam poetry. Okay. Just so you know, these are like mini pearls. They're so good. So good, and they're really like, they're easier to digest too. Okay. I'm so glad I got that out of my chest, because I was getting spiritually and energetically constipated with that just in my heart. I just needed to say it out loud. So thanks for listening, and thanks for listening to this far. Thanks for checking out all my Adventurium stuff. I could pronounce it the first couple times, but then, you know, when you try to say something repeatedly, your tongue just kind of loses it. Your tongue is just like, oh, this again, blah, 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 blah. It's like, it just starts automating, you know? Or it just starts giving up. I don't know. Okay, but anyway, thank you for listening. That was good. That felt really good. It felt really good to get rid of those things. But yeah. Okay, so I guess a couple updates before I go. I think I want to make a separate update video because I want to try some quirky things on this channel, and I think the Adventurium April is going to be extended a little bit just because I haven't been really consistent with posting my content for the first 2 weeks. So I'll just extend a little bit into May, but it'll still be like Adventurium April/May, because I want to make a few more videos about how you could organize your tarot business if you're thinking of doing an online tarot business, and also delivering email readings, how you can streamline your process, how you can design your templates, how, like, basically how you can make it like as productive as possible. I want to talk more about that. Okay, so, but yeah, I wanted to just give you like this little news. I don't know if you're in the group already, Tarot Nerds on Facebook. I'm one of the admins there. I just did a live there about how to create tarot spreads, how you can design your own tarot spreads, and it was great. Oops, sorry. Burping because of the bubble tea. Yeah, so I already did a live. So if you want to catch it, you'll have to watch the replay, but a lot of good stuff in there. You know, every time I make a video, I try to make sure that I get I'm as comprehensive and detailed and organized and logical as possible. I think it's just because I studied to become an English teacher and I study curriculum design. I want everything that, you know, I want everything to be really easy to understand, and that it builds on top of each other, and that it makes sense, and it's easy to access, and it's easy to apply, and that it gives good examples to how people see what I mean, etc. So I am thinking of also making a video and posting it on this channel, because now that I did explored it with 2 lives, I kind of have an understanding of what people are curious about and what I want to talk about, and some examples I can use. So probably going to post a video here too, so people can just check it out, even if you're not in the group Tarot Nerds. And I'm thinking of also creating like a really short ebook with like a toolkit to help people. It would just be like a reference book where you could use if you want to create your own tarot spreads. Yeah, okay. Whew. That's it for this video. I don't know how long it got, probably 20-30 minutes, but hopefully not like 40 because it's a bit long. But yeah, thanks for listening again, and hope to see you soon on this channel. And thank you so much for subscribing to my channel. I just hit 1K and I was so happy, and I think a giveaway is in order, but I'm still figuring that out because I don't want to do a giveaway on YouTube. Last time I did it for my 100 subs or 500 subs, I forgot. My very first giveaway was on YouTube, and it was a disaster because a lot of comments got eaten by the YouTube monster, and I couldn't see some of the entries, and I couldn't figure out how to message people, and then people couldn't really message me, and there were some spams going on. It was really weird. So I think if I do have a giveaway, it's either going to be through my newsletter or Instagram, probably Instagram, but I'll figure it out. But stay tuned for that. I think it'll be fun to do as part of the Adventurium thing, so that's gonna happen. Alright, before I keep babbling, I will end the video here. Thanks again for listening, and hope to see you soon. Until next time, level up life with tarot.